Come on, come on, come on. We are live. We are live. Welcome to All Things Self Mastery. I am your host and now favorite self mastery mentor, Venus Agoddess. I've been teaching self mastery to men and women for 15 plus years. So when I say this is my thing, this is my thing, this is my area of expertise, I teach you the psychological reasons as to the core why. The why can be anything. The why you're not evolving, the why you're not attracting, the him, the hers, the opportunities, the wealth, whatever it is. Self mastery is at the center of that. And now I know that it is just a new term, right? So welcome in, welcome in. I know it's a new term. However, there are many that are teaching on self mastery, understanding, and how to master self, but they're not really giving you core divine information, correct information. And so this is why I'm here. So welcome my Facebook family, welcome my TikTok family. Welcome my TikTok family, welcome my YouTube family, and welcome no, I'm not streaming on Instagram. So let's get into it. Relationships. This is in a I'll just take this back. I'll just take it back. Let me just slow it down already, right? Everything you do has consequences. Every decision you make have consequences. And make sure you're doing me a favor as we teach. Continually tap the screen so we can get the views up, so we can get the algorithm in motion, so we can let TikTok, if you are here on YT, make sure you send a hey girl, hey, not girl, but hey love, hey in the comments so I can respond to you and so I can acknowledge you. Feel free to make sure you subscribe so you do not miss an opportunity to gain some new information that can help you on your journey. So wherever you are visiting from, make sure that you hit a like, hit a subscribe, give me some taps, give me some thumbs up, and respond. Is there anything you save your lives that can be watched later? Absolutely, B. I have a YouTube channel called All Things Self Mastery, which I am streaming on right now. You can get there from the fast way. If you tap my picture and my tree, there is a direct link. Make sure you just subscribe. That way, you're always informed. When I go live, I teach things all self mastery. And this evening, we're going to be talking about understanding dynamics, the dynamics of the relationship. So let me just put out a little clause before we continually dive a little deeper. When I give, because I'm going to be showing a clip later, understand that I speak to the behaviors of us, not so much the individual people. I speak to the behaviors of us. So anytime I bring up a person that you all may know, right, or may not know, I am not speaking directly to the person per se. I'm speaking through to their behaviors, because until we understand the behaviors, we're not going to understand the how to fix certain things. And a lot of people need fixing. A lot of things need fixing in our life, and this is what self mastery is about. So this is regarding the clip that I'm going to show later. Thank you so much for all of those who are continually tapping the screen. You're welcome, my love. Make sure you subscribe. I'm also streaming on your favorite podcast, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Again, same name, All Things Self Mastery. So you can start investing and educating, right? It's okay to live, to love, to laugh. It's okay to be entertained, right? It is also most vital for us to educate ourselves. It is the only way. You cannot create new behaviors if you're still running on the same mental database. It's not how it works, my love. And so I am interested. I am always going to show up for you all who actually want to grow, want to expand, whether you understand the vitalness, the importance of you gaining new information. I'm interested in you. And so I'm always going to show up and share my 15 plus years in expertise. Perfect. I love learning these things. Ashe, well, you are here for a reason. Welcome to All Things Self Mastery. So, relationships, right? This is not a toxic environment at all. On this channel, on this show, All Things Self Mastery, You will not find me or us arguing, bitching, moaning, and complaining. You will not see us, hear us shaming other people, right? Especially because we can use and we can learn from other people's life experiences in real time. The most profound lessons in life are those that you experience, those that you can visually see, right? And so when I pull up or when I give certain references, especially that I'm going to be, especially with me showing the clip this evening, it's important for us to know that it is it is absolutely okay for us to share our expertise, for us to share our POIs, our perspectives, opinions, and ideologies. It is absolutely okay. What is not okay and what is doing us more harm than good is us continually shaming other men and women, right? For whatever reason, us dragging other men and women, right? Us taking pleasure, right? Those of us who take pleasure in, hi Quad, how are you, my love? Those of us who take pleasure in causing other people's pain, right? When you understand universal laws and principles, you would be more mindful in the conversations that you not only participate in, but that you entertain, right? Because the pools that you swim in are the pools that is going to get you all wet up. We can take that how we take that, wherever your mind leads, right? So what are some, and when it comes to relationships, there are so many variables, there are so many dynamics, so many dynamics, right? There are a lot of variables. There's a multifacetedness around, and I make up words. So if you hear me making up a word, don't mind me, just accept it. It's our prerogative to do so. Peace, love. How are you, love? So, what are some of these variables and why? Why are we experiencing, right, such deep levels of depression, right? Why are we experience when it comes to relationships? And keep in mind of the relationship that you have with yourself, because that's always the most important relationship, the one you have with yourself. So when it comes to us experiencing all of the crashing into each other, right, when it comes to us experiencing all the toxicity, when it comes to us experiencing the cognitive and overwhelming factors dealing with our cognitive dissonance, when it comes to us shaming one another, when it comes to us not really understanding one another, not just understanding, when it comes to understanding, right? When it comes to us engaging with one another in a healthy way, right? When it comes to all of these different things, right? From what I see, something needs to change, because there are so many conversations that are centered around peace, peace, peace. Welcome in, welcome in. There are so many conversations around relationships. There's a lot of conversations around, do you think he is wrong or he is right, which is subjective, right? There's so many uncomprehensive conversations that are not only frustrating, it's annoying, but it's leaving a lot is leading a lot of us astray, right? Whether you know it or not, whether you understand it or not, whether you receive it or not, what you consume is what you become. So the more you keep consuming unhealthy conversations, the more you keep entertaining unhealthy conversations, the more you keep downloading, right? Unbeneficial, unhealthy, right? Re un Like what I would say, advice from people who don't really understand what they're talking about. It affects you. It absolutely affects you, which is why we keep circling the same conversations. We're still talking about 50-50. We're still talking about who's supposed to be the leader and who's supposed to be the follower. We're still talking about who's supposed to submit, right? We're still talking about things that I know that doesn't really matter as much as gaining the information that is actually going to make a difference, right? with so many conversations that we're repeating, right? Just think about it. We're having the same conversations. We're still talking about gender. We're still talking about masculinity and femininity. We're still talking about child support. We're still talking about ethnicity. We're still talking about, and not to say that these things are not relevant. They are very relevant. But how long are you going to continually having conversations or entertaining conversations, and it's getting you not where you want to go, but further into where you no longer want to be. I said this in the post the other day, right? The stories you continually tell are the stories you continually live, right? And so even though there are many variables to the dynamics of relationships, we're going to be talking about a few things. Peace, Pop. How are you, Tafan? Right? We're going to be talking about the different variables. We're going to be talking about the core why. The core why, because we had enough, which most of you should have had enough of only speaking about the superficial, the external why. Okay? But until you understand the core why as to your relationships being the way they are, and the majority as of now are unhealthy. So, at what point do you realize that you're practicing insanity? At what point do you realize that what you're doing isn't working? At what point do you realize that you're not being transparently honest with yourself? Right? Peace, DJ. How are you, love? We're not being transparently honest with ourselves. And this is what I mean when it's getting to the core why. Why are we the way we are? Why do we engage with other people the way we do? Why do we engage with ourselves the way we engage with ourselves? Remember that people that come into your life are reflections of you in a vast amount of ways, right? One of which they're either going to reflect your lower self or higher self, right? They're going to reflect to you. They're going to bring out certain things in you. And most of them things aren't going to be desirable for you. I understand that, right? What we visually see and what we don't see, right? We're talking about internal and external. We're talking about energies, right? We're talking about energies. Many of you do not understand that you are literally casting the most dangerous, unhealthy spells on yourself with the conversations that you're having with yourself and other people. At what point do you say, you know what? It's time for me to start maturing. It's time for me to start taking accountability and responsibility as to why the relationship that I have with myself first is unhealthy. Power of word. Yes, B, right? It's unhealthy. And many of us who eyes are open, we can literally see how unhealthy our personal relationships are and our interconnected relationships are. But what you do not understand is that the more you feed a thing, the more that thing is going to grow. So if you're not expanding, you're self-destructing. And I will continually say this until many of us get this through your head. Your mental, your spiritual, your physical, your emotional, even your financial dynamics, your relationships, everything is being altered energetically with everything that you consume. Yes, Stefan, it's still the same. Everything. And what I will not accept, right, is that the alleged 8+ billion people on this earth don't want better. Don't want better. Just look at all the distractions. When I'm talking about we can visually see the destruction, when we can literally see, when we can hear, right? How dysfunctional we are not only with ourselves but with others. Look at all of the manifestations of how dysfunctional we've become, right? Look at all the distractions that were put there for a reason. The feminist movement, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 800. Just look at where we're heading right now, right? Just look at where we're headed right now. And it's not a joke. I mean, I know some of you think it's all a game. Some of you think it's all a game. Some of you think it's a ha 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 moment, right? Participating in this concept and this new wave of the 4B movement, not really understanding what you're doing to yourself, right? Not really understanding the destruction that you're being a part of, not really understanding that there's always an energy transfer, there's always a transmutation of energies, there's always going to be cause and effect. How much do you really love yourself? How much do you really love the earth? How much do you really love and understand metaphysical things, spirituality? How much do you really love the children and your loved ones in your life? Some of our eyes are wide open like chinchillas, but our eye remains closed. What you feed will gain power, and what you starve will lose its power. A lot of us do not understand the energetic implication, the destruction that we're causing on ourselves, right? So if we're saying we want to have, knowingly or unknowingly, right? Whether you feel it or whether you say it verbally or within your mind that you want to have a healthy relationship with yourself. There are so many of us walking around with a smile. We're dressing up depression real good. We're dressing up our anxiety real good, right? We're dressing up our loneliness real good. We're dressing up our cognitive dissonance and dysfunction and personality disassociation real good. We're making negativity look and feel and sound real good when I know deep inside many of y'all hurt and many of y'all are broken. Broken, broken, broken. Because look at the manifestations of it. We're going from one toxic extreme to the next toxic extreme. And it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. It's time to start realizing the part that we play is, yes, generations teaching each other. And we're down spiraling. Many of us are down spiraling. Now, I do understand, right? We're still talking about understanding relationship dynamics. I do understand that there are layers within layers, right? That there are infinite levels within infinite levels. Just as the seasons move in through and out of each other, just as the cycle of life will continue, right? You are a part of that. Not only are we interconnected, right? I understand that we are experiencing our individual experiences. However, keep in mind that you are also one with the collective. You are also one with the collective. We're not really understanding, like, on one hand, we're saying we want to grow, we're saying we want to forge healthy relationships, right? But what are we really doing about it? Right? I raise you that question. What are we really doing about forging healthy relationships? Peace, Claude. How are you, love? What are we doing? Do you not know that you're not growing with new information? Do you not know that do you not understand that your behavior patterns, your actions, right, are predicated upon your current dominant mental database? Your behaviors are not going to change, which means your reality and your manifestations and what you attract isn't going to change until you learn what mental reprogramming is, what mental conditioning is, how you think you're going to change the dynamics of your reality and the reality of your loved ones if you never gain new information. We're still running on the same faulty programs. We're still running on, right? We're still being affected even today. How many conversations we're going to have about slavery when it comes to relationships? How many conversations do we need to have, continually have, about the systematic injustices? How many conversations do we need to continually have, right? About what men are supposed to do, what women are supposed to do and not do. How many conversations are we going to have about who's the owner of this land? How many conversations are we going to continually have about 50-50 in your perspective? How many conversations are we going to continually have about healing? How many conversations are we going to continually have about emotional intelligence? What good is it if you actually gain correct and righteous information if you never apply that information, right? On the same spectrum, I know why. I know why many of us are not forging the healthy relationships that we truly inwardly desire, right? Is because you do not understand that your mental database, your dominant mental database, dictates your feelings, which dictates your emotions, and then dictates your actions. And here you go, it's your reality, right? You wonder why you're so pessimistic? Look inside. You're wondering why you never see the silver lining? Look inside. You're wondering why things are never going your way? Look inside. We want to forge healthy dynamics with each other as well as with ourselves, but we don't have an inkling of a clue. Not many of us, not enough of us have an inkling of a clue, is that there is no such thing as violating, right? Or being the exception or exempt from energy transfer, cause and effect. It's not just about take, or receive. There's no such thing. Universal principles apply to you. They apply to you as well. You cannot continually expect for you to keep receiving or taking without understanding that you have to also give. And not just give anything, be intentional and aware about what you're giving, what you're emitting, right? We're not mindful. We're not mindful of these things. Our perspectives are limitless. Our perspectives are limited, pardon me, instead of limitless. Our perceptions are limited instead of limitless. Our awareness is very limited and not limitless. So we wondering why we're not growing. I see the taps continually tap. That's the only thing I ask is you continually tap so we can stay in the algorithm, right? And also share the live. Remember, listen, it's that give and receive. Everything that you do is a give and receive. And when you become more aware, when you become more intentional, it starts to become automatic that even the little things, as even the little things, even with me just asking you to do a simple task, tap the screen. That's an energetic implication. That's an energetic transfer. What you give is what you receive. Take advantage of the smallest quote unquote of things that you can do because it all matters and it will make a big difference. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 equals more than what you started with. Do you understand that? It'll start helping you regain a higher conscious awareness of this principle. What you give, you receive, right? That's what it is. Your perspectives and your perception play a huge part in your reality, in the creation of your reality. Your perception plays a huge part in dictating your behaviors. You can only give to the level of your understanding or overstanding. You cannot give what you do not have. So when it comes to, right, you being able to attract healthier relationships, even the most important relationship with yourself, you do not have the right information. When I say right, I mean righteous and it's showing. Energy not only does not lie, the receipts of your reality isn't lying. Quiet Storm, how are you? Evanor, how are you? Tez, how are you? Peace, 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 right? The reality, your receipts isn't lying. It isn't lying to you. Or do you really think the more money you have, the more internal happiness you'll get? Are you really being honest with yourself? Right? Are you really understanding on the internal level that a lot of us are chasing money because we're hurt? A lot of us have come to the conclusion that we don't want to be in beautiful relationships, not even romantically. A lot of us, because of our hurt, our pain, our unresolved traumas, our unwillingness to invest in information that is actually going to help us expand and evolve and elevate, right? Because of that, it's causing us to even want, even it's causing us to not even want to build friendships with each other. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Everything in nature stands together. Everything and everyone in this world stands together. You were not purposed to live the duration of your life experience on this realm in in solitude. Too much of anything isn't healthy. But because we're so broken, because we're so depressed, because we're so miserable, because we're so lonely, because we're so hopeless, we don't even want to forge healthy relationships with other people, our mothers, our fathers, our parents, our loved ones. We don't want friendship no more. How many of us have said or heard no new friends, no new friends? Do you understand that? Do you understand what you're doing to yourself? Do you understand how you're cursing yourself and your loved ones? Do you understand what you're saying? Do you understand what you're saying when you're talking about this 4B movement crap? It is one thing to not want to engage or forge a healthy romantic relationship, right? Because you're still doing internal work. You're actually doing internal work. You're not running and hiding. Running and hiding, isolation is not doing the work. That's not what it means. So I understand that when you are in a process, I understand that isolation is absolutely required. However, be truthfully, transparently honest with yourself. Half of y'all, not more than half, I would say, but that's going to change. I have hope that that's going to change. Many of y'all want to be isolated. Many of us are jumping on this bandwagon with the 4B against men and the 4B against women because you're hurt, because you haven't forgiven your mother, your mothers, you haven't forgiven your fathers, you haven't forgiven your past lovers who broke your heart, you haven't forgiven no one, you haven't even forgiven yourself. And it's showing, right? It is showing. As many conversation as we have about emotions, emotional intelligence, about healing, about growing, about self-mastery, which is now becoming a big boom. There's so many of us talking about self-mastery and don't have an idea of how to internally spell self-mastery, let alone know exactly what it is, how to practice it, and then how to share that wisdom and knowledge so people can actually evolve instead of devolve. We're talking about behaviors and we're not changing them. It's more of the same thing. Y'all notice that? It's more of the same thing. We're running on this perpetual dysfunctional hamster wheel over and over and over and over and over again. Let's see some taps, my loves. Let's tap. This is how we exchange positive energy. We're talking about awareness. Yes. All talk and no solutions. There may be solutions. However, what we're seeing is the direct reflection of how much we're not actually doing the work. How much we're actually not understanding what we ourselves are talking about. How can you say you understand something, you understand something, you understand something, you overstand something? How can you say these things? And your life is not much different from what it was yesterday. How are you speaking about emotional intelligence, right? And you yourself are triggered. You yourself allow others to be in control of your energetic vibration and frequency. How are we talking about how to attract a man, how to attract a woman? How are we talking about how to get him or her? How are we talking about how to be in a marriage? How are we still talking about healthy relationships when the realities of so many of us are anything but that? Anything but that, right? Let me I want to share something with you. I want to share pardon me. I want to share a clip with you, and we're going to discuss it because I think it is actually very sad, and we're going to break this down. We're going to break this down as much as you can. So just listen, right? And I'm going to be pausing it so we can understand. The video I'm about to say, let me put another clause out there. I am not specifically talking about the individual, even though the individuals are very prevalent and relevant. What I'm speaking to, what I'm going to be speaking to is the behaviors, right? Because we can definitely learn a lot by visually seeing, audibly hearing, right? Experiences of other people. So keep that in mind. I am not here to bash or to shame. We're here to gain a deeper understanding of the dynamics of relationships. The relationship with yourself being the very first one. Hi, relationship gumbo, peace, love. How are you? So let's get into it, and let's break it down. Let's break it down a little bit. Do y'all hear? Do y'all hear the audio that I'm playing? This is reality couple Yandy and Mendices. Put a one in a comment section if you can hear the audible from Love and Hip Hop, right? Put a one in the comment section if you can hear the clip that I'm okay. One, good, good, good. Thank you so much for letting me know. See, listen, teamwork makes mastery work. Oh goodness, I see it's probably my algorithm is messing up a little bit on YouTube, right? So many of you, if not, if you are not, I'm not a person that watches the reality shows, but I'm very aware of them. I see clips of different things, right? And however, I am aware of the history, right? From what they've shown, right? Because keep in mind, there's always going to be duality and polarity. There's always going to be things that are said that you're privy to, that we're privy to, and things that are unsaid. There's always going to be there's always going to be a vast amount, right, of variables, right? And when you are a wise person, right, you learn and you understand that it is not just her story or his story, right? It's their story, and then there is the infinite story, right? Because no one can be present at all times. So just based upon that, right? What Yandy have shown us through her through her seasons while being in these reality shows is that she definitely, her behavior, she's definitely a person that loves money. She's definitely a person that loves attention. Right now, keep in mind, we're still talking about understanding relationship dynamics, right? And in this clip, she's expressing how much she missed her husband on this trip, right? And just to give a further back clip, they are already experiencing marital issues, right? Mendices have expressed several times that they are not on the same page. He's constantly expressed his um his feelings, right? Of he's definitely expressed his feelings of his wife not being as present, right? And so there's, with the multitude of reasons as to how they got here, because there's always a conception story. And when we are forming conclusions, hopefully we're forging wise conclusions, it is always important for you to begin with the conceptions, right? The conception of these stories, right? Meant they was in a relationship. It was, for me, my understanding, it was already hectic from the beginning. There was a lot of infidelity. There was that was spoken about. There was a lot of cheating that was spoken about, right? Let's continue. There are so many things that was mentioned. Carrying her suitcase. He's genuinely asking her how was the trip? How was the trip? And she started out what I call is healthy, right? She started out saying how her trip was and then proceeded to say the reasons. Now, keep in mind, the first thing that a person says is 80% of what their first thoughts are. You can take it back if you want to. But the first thing you say in response to any type of question that you're asked is typically the one that you are thinking the most, the one that is most prevalent, the one that is in the forefront of your file, right? And so her reasoning, as and maybe she didn't express it well, but we're not going to deny that this is still a thought that she had in her mind as to the reason that she missed him is because she had to carry her own bags. These types of behaviors, right, not only reflect the type of relationship that you have with yourself, again, it also reflects the type of relationships that you're going to have with others. And then acts completely oblivious as to why his energy is expressing disillusion and disassociation and confusion. How, and this is where we get into accountability and responsibility, right? This is where we get into being transparently honest, not only with ourselves, but with the person that we are in the relationship with, no matter what type of relationship it is. And once he responds, then if you've seen the clip, which if you're on my YouTube, you can actually see the clip that I'm playing. She rolls her eyes to the back, damn near to the back of her head, right? What are the things, and I'm gonna ask you all a question. What are some of the things that you are supposed to not only understand, but look for, right? When you're communicating with someone, what are some of the ways that you communicate? What are some of the ways that we communicate? Now we get into it. Let's Let's exchange, right? Come on, because it's not about eye contact. There you go, B. What are some ways in which you could communicate with? What are some of the ways what are some of the things that we should be paying attention to when we're communicating with other people, especially our loved ones and our spouses, right? Posture, right? Nonverbal keys and cues. So, your eye movement, where you place your eyes tells a story. If your eyes are moving to the left, that tells something. Whether you're searching for a lie or if it's the other direction, searching for the truth, right? Your body language also speaks volume. Your body language, nonverbal cues also tells the tale, right? He's expressing how he felt because of something she said, right? And she's and her body language is suggesting that she's non-responsive, right? That she's dismissing, right? This is the way he feels, right? We're talking about communication, especially in more in-depth comprehensive communication, because you can conversate with any and everybody. You can chat, 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 and it can be words, 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 right? Body language, yes, right? Yes, Yavi, right? However, what's the energy saying? If you don't have comprehension, you don't have clarity on what the person is saying. And so, in order for you to effectively communicate with someone, you have to be able to comprehend, you have to be able to include, right? Body language, nonverbal cues, and energy. If you're not tapped in, you're not aware, because energy will not lie. Even though it can be manipulated, energy will not lie. And there is always an exchange. Taking accountability and responsibility for your choices is the epitome of you elevating or going down. Oh Lord, we're gonna stop at that. We're gonna start with that again. That's being dismissive. That's being dismissive. And even though she's very calm, even though she's very poised, and once again, I'm saying she because it is her, it is she, but I'm speaking more to the behaviors, right? He's still poised and he's still calm, right? Right? He's attempting to be understanding. You can tell by the choice words that he's using, by his energy. Meanwhile, all her language and her body language and her verbal cues and non-verbal cues suggest that she's constantly being dismissive of him expressing how he feels. And obviously, right, from what she's saying and from what he's saying, there's still unresolved situations and issues that they have. This is giving mixed signals, though. Yes, 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 it is. Let's pause it right there for a second. Now, I understand both spectrums. I do understand where she's coming from, right? Because she's expressing how she felt and what she had to go through while he was away for 4 years, right? While he was serving his time. However, we also have to take in consideration when you are forging a relationship, when you are engaged in a relationship with someone, you have to understand a lot of things. And one of those things are no one forces you to do something. No one forced her to stay committed to him, her husband, while he was away. In fact, she consciously made a decision. And this is what I mean by not being aware and not being intentional and not understanding universal principles and laws. There is always going to be an energetic exchange, a transfer of energies. You cannot expect for you to just receive, or give and give and give without a transfer. There's always going to be an imbalance. So not only is she not really taking, I can understand how she's feeling, what she's expressing, but what I am getting is that she's not taking full accountability for the choices that she made. And I can say the same thing for him, because they're both bringing up situations from the past. He feels like she is taking advantage, even though that was his implication. He was implying that now that he's home, now she gets to do all of what she wants to do, and he gets to be the parent that is single. He gets to be the one who is making all of the sacrifice. So both of them chose to graft. Both of them chose to marry. Both of them chose to be in a relationship with each other. So when you are experiencing life with someone, when you are experiencing, right? When you are in a journey of a relationship with someone, you have to take a lot of things into consideration. Am I saying that it's always going to be easy? It's always going to be a smooth transition? I'm not saying that at all. However, you also have to understand that you're the one who chose. You're the one who chose. And when you do not understand that there's always a vibrational exchange, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities to grow. Why does it have to take devastation for us to get it? Why does it have to take the absence of someone that we love for us to understand? Especially because we see so many examples around us. We're seeing, we're hearing, we're touching, we're tasting all of these examples that's in front of us. Yes, yet it's still taking us greatest depth of lack, of destruction, of dysfunction, for us to have a deeper understanding, or for us to say, you know what, I don't want to go down that particular path, because that particular path is going to hurt me, is going to cause more damage. They both made a conscious choice to be in their relationship. They both made a conscious decision to be in the relationship, right? And so being completely accountable and responsible does not only mean you tell the external truth, it also means you tell the internal truth. And not first to the other person, but to yourself. So I understand both perspectives in this. I understand what he's saying, I understand what she's saying. Because yes, you were, quote unquote, not fully by yourself, because you have family, right? You have relatives, you had friends. And let's not forget, You did do a lot of things that you're saying that you did not do or wasn't able to do. May not be to the capacity or as much as you wanted to, but you did explore. You did expand. Your businesses kept running, which means you were still able and capable of feeding your businesses while you were taking care of the children, even when your husband was home, right? Understand that you have to be accountable and responsible for the decisions that you made. And there's always going to be a give and receive. You cannot expect to just get of all of what you want and not also knowing that there has to be a giving. And most times it's not going to be a sacrifice in which you're going to be happy with, right? To whom much is given, much is required. We have to come to the awareness that you cannot expect to just, I want this big, this huge, this infinite gift. I want this beautiful dynamic of relationship. I want the career. I want the businesses. I want to be the CEO. I want to be the one in charge. I want this power. I want the empowerment, while also knowing and saying you also want the husband, or you also want the wife, or you also want a healthy relationship, a healthy partner, a lifelong partner, and you're not willing, or you don't understand that you also have to give of something. You have to give something. You have to exchange something. And it's not always going to be what you want. You don't get everything you desire and want. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. And it's not to say that you cannot have both. You can have the career, the job, the empowerment that you want, that you need, that you desire. You can also have the partner that you want, that you need, that you desire. Well, you also have to understand that there needs to be a harmony and a balance. Because if the scales are tipped on either side, it is going to be disharmony and imbalance. And this is what we're seeing in this clip with these two relationships, right? However, this is what happens in many relationships. Their relationship, and like many other entertainers and celebrities, is just polarized. It's just on a world wide web for everybody to see. But it is happening. Again, not being transparently honest. Everything that you saying that you want to do, you have done, you have accomplished. What you're saying is that you want to do it on a larger scale. This thing, pardon me. Let me Thank you so much for the taps. Let's get the taps going. What you're saying is that you want it on a larger scale. Because let's not forget, you were still participating. You were still a cast member. She was still a cast member for the 4 years that her husband was away. So the transparent truth that she's not acknowledging, right? For whatever reason, is that part right there. You were still fulfilling your desires and your dreams. You were still a businessman. It's not like your business was put on hold the 4 years he was away. That's not the case. And it's okay that you want more. It's okay that you want to expand. But there's this balance again. There's this understanding the universal principle again. You cannot have everything if you're not willing to exchange something. There is a give and a receive. It's not a take, or receive, 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 because that causes a disharmony and imbalance, right? And we have to understand that. So I get what she's saying. How else, also, if you're not willing to be transparently honest with yourself, right? You're not even forging a healthy relationship dynamics with yourself. You lying to yourself in whatever situation, and this is in regards to all of us, it's not helping you. That's right, B. If you cannot be transparently honest with yourself, you cannot be transparently honest with your partner. And being transparently honest also comes with speaking the undesirable truths, not only to yourself, but to your partner. Omitting certain invaluable, vital truths is not doing you justice. And there we go with perspective. Fair is subjective, not FEAR, FAIR. A lot of things aren't quote unquote fair, but this is where we get into self mastery. This is where we start gaining a deeper understanding about perception and perspective. What's really fair? Your perception and perspective of the words that you're using, right? That's replicas of your decisions doesn't hold as much weight as the consequences to your actions. Do you understand what I'm saying? Take in the variables. Whenever you're making a decision, it is equally important for you to also incorporate the variables that's attached to it. Otherwise, you're not coming to a wise conclusion. Living in a victim mindset is not helping us. Living in a victim mindset is not helping us. And I did a master class on victimship versus victorship. So even her saying that she's had to take on the bulk and the brunt of taking care of the children, taking care of the household, and still taking care of him while he was away. Baby, what do you want to be, the victim or the victor? Are you forgetting that's what you chose? That's what you chose. What do you expect from the choices that you make? It's delusional if you expect anything different from what your choice would mimic, what your choice would reflect. No one forced you to do these things. We have to start paying attention to not only how we're speaking to one another, what's being said, non-verbally, verbally, but also to the energy and being able to comprehend. No one forced you to do what you did. And understanding when you're being unjustly manipulative. Now, manipulation, pardon me, manipulation in itself is not always unjust and unrighteous. When you understand um, the principle and the law of alchemy, right? One of your divine purposes for you being here is to learn how to manipulate energy, right? However, manipulate energy and frequency in a righteous way, in a just way, and not to cause harm with someone else. However, you have to understand it. And this is what I mean by understanding your triune essence. You are not just physical. We are part mental, part soul, spirit, and part physical. It's not just the physical part of you, right? But when it comes to find infinite principles of spirituality, right? When it comes to infinite principles of mentalism, you have to understand a lot of the things that in many cases cannot be expressed and taught to the level that was only purpose for you to internalize, right? And metaphysically interpret metaphysics metaphysical things, right? Is beyond what you can mentally conceive and perceive to many degrees. However, it does not mean that it does not exist. Peace conscious, how are you? It does not mean that it does not exist. And so when you are constantly operating from the physical aspect of you, you miss ascending, you miss elevating, you miss the opportunity to energetically align yourself, right? To alchemize your energy to align with attracting and manifesting more of what you want, need, and or desire in a healthy way that is going to be beneficial for not only you but all of those whom you choose to have a relationship with. That's imperative for us to understand. And again, now if you've seen the clip, this is what she's doing. Oh my God. Energetic, nonverbal cues. Her behavior, in my opinion, is despicable. Even though I understand a lot of what she's saying on both sides of the coin, right? Both sides of the coin. So I understand why he's getting frustrated. I understand why he's at his capacity. Because in the past, I've never heard him verbally say, based upon what he showed us, that he would ever separate from the love of his life. And now they're at a point which means that nothing just happens, nothing just drops out of thin air. Nothing. There's a catalyst to everything. It's a build up of a lot of things. You didn't just all of a sudden get here. So we have to be mindful of how we're responding to the people who we say we love, the people to the people who we say we genuinely care about, right? Whether you want to or not. You cannot, in a healthy, forging healthy relationships, when it comes to comprehensively communicating does not mean that you only have conversations that benefit you, that you only have conversations that bring you a level of happiness and fulfillment. It also means being mature enough for you to have conversations that you really don't want to have, and expressing non-verbally and verbally that you care enough not to show that you're disinterested, that you're uninterested, that you're being dismissive. That is hurtful. That is extremely hurtful. Peace, love. How are you, hon? It's the deep sigh, like, here we go again. Here's also the thing. A lot of us women and men alike, we're saying that we want our chosen partners to be passionate, compassionate, to care, to be considerate of the way we speak to one another. Notice that this man isn't cursing her out. Notice that in his responses and his feedback and his conversation, he's not, even when it came down to him saying, I want you to do wife things. I want you to pay attention to the love. Let me say that again. This man said, I want you to pay attention to the love. He didn't say, I want you to be more submissive. He didn't say, I want you to cook more. He didn't say, I want you to continually be a doormat. He didn't say, I want you to be the follower. He didn't say, I want you to allow me to lead more. He didn't say that you talk too much. He simply said that you need to slow down, that you need to reprocess. How many times do you hear us women and men saying, I want more respect? I want more care and compassion. So I understand the amount of people, the amount of men, and the amount of women that are getting absolutely frustrated because you say you want all of these beautiful attributes that a man or woman can give you, yet you don't display them. You don't display them. And now, now, I don't hope anyone to experience anything other than what they are supposed to experience. However, with that, there's also things that you can avoid. There are also uncomfortable, hurtful pitfalls that you can prevent if you have preventative measures, if you're willing to do the work and not just say you're doing the work, but you actually are willing to do the work, right? He's not being disrespectful. I paid attention to that particular part. He's at his wit's end. And there are many women in relationships, many men in relationships that is at their wit's end, that feels absolutely like hopeless, where the reciprocity isn't there, right? He's being very sincere and honest. And it's not just in his words, it's in his energy and frequency, right? There's a difference. Can y'all sense the difference in the energy, the vibration, and the frequency of both these two individuals while they're having an engagement? There's the manipulation, so you don't feel like I love you. Again, perspective, perception. In order for you to, one of the main keys in forging a healthy relationships, we're still talking about the dynamics of relationships. One of the key elements in forging a healthy relationship is to have an awareness, have be able to expand your conscious awareness, be able to comprehend, be able to be mature about things, being able not to go on a defense all the time, being able to have self control, right? Even if you're feeling a little touched by certain things that the person is saying, right? So here go the unrighteous manipulation. And they both well can have an understanding is definitely needed, because it is clear that they both have two different perceptions and perspectives of what love is and how it should or shouldn't be displayed. And anytime you are not on one accord, anytime when you don't comprehensively understand your partner's perspectives, ideologies, opinions, and where they stand, right? It is always going to cause y'all to butt heads. It is always going to cause confusion, right? And it's not enough just to have conversations. It's not enough to just talk about things. We have to get to understanding the other person's perspective and then having a clarity. That's vital in forging healthy relationships. You just done. Understanding, listen, the whole time he's talking to her, he's expressing himself. And this can be both any of the people in a relationship when you're not listening to comprehend and you're only listening to react or respond. You're not having a understand and understanding of what they're actually talking about. And perhaps it's because you're not really invested. And she displayed in this scene that she's not really interested, right? In hearing him. It's sad. It really is sad. That's extremely sad. Extremely sad. I hope that you've gained something from what we've shared. I hope that you've received the things, the principles and the universal laws and practices that I mentioned. I hope you can be able to take the information and the example of these two people and uh, use it to your benefit, right? Because many of us, and it is absolutely healthy, it is important for many of us to forge healthy relationships, right? However, until we gain a deeper understanding, right, not only the vitalness of our interpersonal relationship that we have with ourselves, until you understand, learn to understand, and you can only do that by gaining new information and then investing and finding someone that can absolutely, or choosing someone that can help you, that can guide you through and help you navigate, right? Because you cannot create new behavior patterns if you do not have new information. You cannot create or forge anything healthy if you do not have the available energy to do so. Creation needs energy. And if you're still giving your energy to unresolved past experiences, issues, hurts, pains, knowingly or unknowingly, it is going to continually affect your relationship with yourself and the relationships that you want to forge in the future. And this is not only romantic relationships, this is the relationships that you have with your loved ones, with your children, with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, just with the world in general, right? Nothing is really going to change. And so I hope you all better understand that, right? And if you want more assistance, if you are a reader, my last book, Attracting What and Who You Desire, breaks down a lot of the things that I'm talking about and so much more in 11 chapters. And within each chapter, it has an exercise, a very short exercise for you to do so you can gain a deeper awareness, understanding, right, of the core catalyst reasons why you do the things you do, why you behave the way you behave. Because until you do, nothing is going to change. Start investing in yourself. Care about where you are on your priority list. Care about feeding yourself nourishment. Care about what you're consuming. Care about what your future is going to be like and look like. Not only yours, but your loved ones. And the only way you can gain a deeper awareness, a higher awareness, the only way you can start to reform and reshape and change the trajectory of your life is if you have the information. Invest in yourself. It's not a long read, right? The book is available in PDF form. Take some time to invest in yourself. You need new information to create new behavior patterns. You need new information so you can forge healthier relationships. You need new information so you can understand things that are affecting you, even the things that you're doing. You have to know this. You have to come to know this if you're choosing, if you want to elevate. You have to come to know universal laws and principles. For every cause, there is an effect, and for every effect, it's something that you cause. And if you do not ever gain a deeper understanding as to why you're causing the things that you're causing, as it pertains to the results that you're getting, nothing is going to change in your benefit. Things don't ever stay the same. That is a misconception. You are either moving forward or backwards. And this is what I mean by universal principles. Energy is constantly moving. It's always moving. It's always vibrating. You're never staying the same. That is a misconception and misnomer. You have to do this. You have to. You have to. And you don't have to do anything. I say this for the people who actually want to. You really have to have a deeper understanding of this. And you can only do that by more gaining information. Right? And so in this ebook, I break down how important your decisions are, where your decisions come from. I talk about energy alignment. I talk a little bit about universal laws and principles. I talk about the dynamics, right? I talk about you tapping back in. I talk about gaining, going from a limited mindset to a limitless mindset. The information in this short read has helped a lot of people. I encourage you to get it. The link is in all of my bios. The book, the PDF version, is called Attracting What and Who You Desire. And if you feel you're ready to take the next level, I am a self mastery mentor. I am always here if you felt led, right, to choose me to help you navigate through your journey. So give me 1 second, TikTok. Thank you so much for joining me at All Things Self Mastery. Remember that I am streaming on your favorite podcast, Spotify, and Apple on All Things Self Mastery. What I'm asking is that you do me a favor, that you give something positive so you can receive something positive in exchange. Follow me, subscribe on all platforms. It is absolutely free. YouTube, Facebook. Well, not Facebook. You can, but definitely my podcast, because I am absolutely in the process of growing them. It costs you nothing to subscribe for free, right? It is that All Things Self Mastery. Again, I am your self mastery mentor. And I will see you again next Friday evening with another mastery lesson at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, thank you so much. Okay, TikTok.